Russia today is a country where reality increasingly resembles absurdity, and at the same time, a frightening truth, where propaganda paints the image of a great state, something else is actually growing. Corruption, cynicism, and a system that literally turns people into a war resource.
This is already an all-Russian campaign to recruit students. This means that they are promised a contract for a year, money, and various academic benefits upon graduation, for example, reinstatement in case of expulsion and, in some cases, enrollment in a state-funded place.
But there is a nuance. While Russian propagandists shout about traditional values, officials quietly divide up land. While deputies call on people to have more children, teenagers are already being put into weapons production.
My name is Kirill. I am a third-year student at Alabuga Polytechnic University and work at the world's largest drone factory. I test and inspect PCBs. Today, it is important not to stand still. I chose to help the motherland with deeds. Work, create, develop.
And Putin openly says, education must work for the economy.
Programs of both secondary and higher education should be adapted to the needs of the national economy, our enterprises and business.
But again, there is another nuance. Russia's economy today is a war economy. And we'll start with a story that very accurately describes the entire system. In the Ivanovo region, a corruption scheme was uncovered that sounds so brazen that even Russian media were momentarily confused. There, local officials appropriated land plots that were intended for large families. And the families themselves were given land in swamps. That's what social support looks like in the Russian way.
Social protection officials. Think about it. Social security officials, taking advantage of their official position, helped to receive preferential land plots out of turn, which were allocated to representatives with many children. Well, in fact, these polling stations were eventually received by representatives of the local power referee elite, as well as some officials. The names of some are known, others are still a secret of the investigation, but, nevertheless, as the investigation found out, ordinary large families were offered ravines and swamps. Well, they should allocate land plots to large families. So they said, please take what they give. Far away, swamp, forest, you can't get there. Oh, as far as I understand, there is no electricity, no water, no gas. Well, it's just take it. If you don't want to, goodbye.
And this is no joke. No roads, no communications, no possibility to build anything. And here a simple question arises. If the authorities care so much about families, why do large families receive swamps while officials get elite land?
Top plots, yes. There was such near the regional center. They somehow miraculously went to officials, a judge, and even an employee of the investigative committee. Of the families that we have beneficiaries, no one was offered such plots. I will just remind you that Svetlana Orlova, the chairman of the Ivanovo Regional Public Organization for Helping Large Families, is on the line with us. So I asked Svetlana Sergeyevna this question. And what allotments were offered to you? How much? Well, different allotments were offered. To be honest, I had a very large number of refusals. As a result, well, my family personally, we got a forest.
The answer is simple. Because in Russia a system has long been formed where the state doesn't work for people, it works for itself and for war. Because while some are deceived with social programs, others are urged to give birth to more children. And here the Russian State Duma enters the stage. Deputy Utyasheva decided to explain to Russian women how they should live properly. According to her, women can quite easily give birth to 3 children by the age of 27. But if inspiration remains, they can even give birth until 47.
As an obstetrician-gynecologist, I say 22 to 27 years old. During these years, you can give birth to 3 children easily, and then from the heart up to 47 at your request. A woman can give birth to 47. Well, we're not talking about men. I don't want to. Here sits the academician. They believe that men believe that our reproductive health is infinite.
It sounds like a production plan. Though there is a small detail. The deputy herself did not meet this standard. She has only 2 children. But that doesn't stop her from telling others how many children they should have. And here it's worth asking another question. Why does the Kremlin need such democracy activity? Concern for families? Oh, I have doubts. Because it looks like replenishing a resource. Because when a country wags war and doesn't intend to stop it, people become a resource. And children begin to perceive not as a future, but as future soldiers. And the Kremlin doesn't even try very hard to hide it. Just the other day, Putin stated that secondary education programs should be adapted to the needs of the economy.
Both secondary and higher education should be adapted to the needs of the national economy, our enterprises and businesses. Among other things, they should take into account the high dynamics of the labour market, provide an opportunity to change and build up professional skills throughout life. And what is fundamental, from a very early age, a child needs help in choosing a professional path, in determining the field of activity where he will be most interested in working, where his gifts and talents will be fully revealed.
The formulation sounds almost technocratic. Economy, labor markets, needs of the state. But if you translate from Kremlin language into a normal language, everything looks much simpler. Children are being prepared to work where the demand is currently the highest. And the highest demand in Russia today is at defense enterprises, because the country is completely switching to a military economy. Factories operate in several shifts, weapons producing is growing, and hands are needed, a lot of hands. And this is where the most interesting part begins, because these hands are found among teenagers. In Tatarstan, a special economic zone called Alabuga is now being actively advertised. Z channels are spreading videos where students talk about their career prospects.
My name is Darina. I am 16 years old, and next year I will earn 150,000 rubles a month. I study at Alabuga Polytechnic University and work at the world's largest drone production plant. My parents are proud of me. Do you want to do the same? Enter Alabuga Polytech.
How do you like it? On the screen, smiling teenagers. They're only 16, but their parents can already be proud of them. They manufacture instruments of mass killing.
My name is Vyacheslav. I am a second-year student of Alabo Polytechnic University in the field of microelectronics. I work as a specialist and assemble PCB components at the world's largest drone factory. The best technologies in the world are concentrated here. My parents did not understand, but I came here because I am a patriot and also earn good money. My salary in the second year is 150,000 rubles. I plan to develop in order to reach the position of head next year and receive a salary of 350,000 rubles.
That is what the advertisement of successful youth in Russia looks like. But its authors forgot one thing. These drones are the same strike drones that Russia launches at Ukraine. In other words, teenagers are actually being offered to become participants in the war. By the way, Russian media reports that both college students and school children come to work at the factory. That is, even minors. And all of this is represented as an opportunity to earn money. Moreover, advertising integrations for bloggers with such videos cost from 250,000 to 1.5 million rubles. So Russia is actively promoting this story because it needs a new workforce.
Alabuga Polytechnic University, or slave labor of teenagers at a closed plant. I want to tell the whole truth about this college, because now a lot of corrupt bloggers advertise it. So, let's start with the fact that this college is literally a closed area, and where you don't study, you literally work in a factory for 12 hours. That's the first thing. Secondly, you can't post anything there. All phones are checked there. They check what you publish, what you say on the internet about this college. And not only that, this is a closed institution. That is, you can't leave it if you want to, especially when you sign an agreement with this college. And it says that you are obliged to work for 2 or 3 years at the enterprises of this plant. Otherwise, you pay a huge fine for the fact that you just deceived this company. But if even this did not bother you, hey, about the college that you can enter based on the results of passing the game, then let's talk about the dormitories in this college. Dormitories consist of, they are so multi-level. That is, there are, I think, 5 floors, and on the first floor live the most homeless. That is, those who have just entered. Their conditions are terrible. That is, they literally have cockroaches running around. Everything is dirty. Such green painted walls. And those who are on higher floors, there are already workers who are not students, who have already worked there for some time. This is literally a closed prison. and where you are paid 3 coins, you cannot get out of here. You cannot publish anything about this institution. Therefore, bloggers who publish this, please, you are corrupt and ashamed of you, really. Well, now you know the whole truth about this college.
And here the puzzle comes together. Officials steal land, deputies urge people to have children, schools adapt education in the needs of war, and teenagers are already being put to work producing drones. And all of these are elements of one system, a military one. So now a little about the numbers. Russia's economy today is becoming increasingly dependent on military spending. The defense sector absorbs a huge part of the budget. Factories work to produce missiles, drones, and ammunition. But there is one problem. An economy that lives by war doesn't create a future. It simply maintains an endless cycle of spending and destruction.
And why is everyone silent? Yesterday, Belgorod was hammered. There was no light for hours. Hysteria Oskol without electricity, Novi Oskol without electricity. Drones, Belgorod region, all Bryansk, Kursk. We have ha. Peskov tells how we are doing in the economy. In what economy? People are killed every day. Enter the counterterrorism operation. This Trump, here and there, both ours and yours. What does he have, and that's normal for him? That's it. He allowed them to fire long-range missiles. Now there are also Tomahawks. Are we going to eat this?
And while Kremlin invests resources in weapons, other sectors gradually degrade. Social programs are being cut, infrastructure is aging, and ordinary people are increasingly faced with the same reality: miserable survival instead of a normal life. No roads, no prospects, and very often no future. And this is what modern Russia looks like. A country where officials divide land, deputies count other people's children, teenagers are put into weapons production, and education is rebuilt to serve the needs of war. But propaganda tries to convince people that this is normal, that this is development, that this is patriotism. And Russians believe these tales. And they believe in future. A future that in reality will look like a harsh past.
By starting the war, Russia destroyed the opportunities for normal economic development and improving the well-being of the population for a generation to come. What definition is used to describe the 90s? The dashing 90s. The dashing 90s because it was an extremely difficult streak and many people's lives were broken then. Someone got out of it, someone started a business and rose and began to get rich. And a lot of people have lost their position, lost their self-respect, turned into beggars. And in this embittered state, poor pensioners are living out their lives now. In addition, let's remember what the 90s are. This is rampant crime, and these are whole fields and cemeteries laid by brothers shot in mutual shootouts. Why did young people go there? And there was no money, no earnings. They went into crime, and in the 90s Russia lost a huge number of young people who went into crime and died there in mutual shootouts. Let's remember this too. A psychiatrist just recently wrote to me. He said, I remember the 90s well. He says that a neighboring cafe was smashed with a grenade launcher. People were received in the wrong way. They said the wrong thing. People came with a grenade launcher and smashed it. Now it will be worse because they will come not with a grenade launcher, but with a drone and arrange terror with the help of drones. The dashing 90s, nothing good. Have you lived? How did you live? Many people's lives have collapsed. Now the picture is, yes, Russia will go to the 90s in many ways. And the 90s, let me remind you, so that you can imagine what a fun life it was. These are delays in the payment of wages. You can get out of it as you want. These are delays in the payment of pensions. You can get out of it as you want. These are old people who stand on the streets near the metro and sell household equipment. At least buy something, but there is nothing. And you went and gave them the last money. He did not buy anything, but gave money because it was scary. They worked for the Soviet Union, and now they are dying of hunger. This is what is now waiting for Russian pensioners. All these 42 million who are now cheerfully voting for Putin. For example, a woman has just written me a letter that she has received a payment for a communal apartment. It fully corresponds to the size of my pension. A penny for a penny. And what should I live on? Buy food and medicines? I don't know.
So, if you remove the propaganda, the picture becomes obvious. Russia is increasingly turning into a conveyor state, where weapons are produced, soldiers are produced, and war is produced. And while the whole world moves forward, this system sinks deeper and deeper into the swamp.
There is no longer hot water throughout the city, if not even in the region. And they turned off the cold water, you know. without any drop of tap water at all for 4 hours. Konstantin says that what was turned off for him?
After the gas facility was hit hard at 11:45 the day before yesterday, a significant part of the lighting was turned off. Electricity was not supplied. I looked out of the window at the whole area, practically not. All the electric goats turned off, the motors stopped spinning. And how does it turn out? That we seem to have a generator nearby, but for some reason it did not work, and electricity was supplied only after about 12 hours.
In the private sector in Nikolskoye, and about 8 o'clock my power went out. I went to the city, there was no light at 12. When the light is cut off, the heating is immediately automatically turned off. After half an hour the water is turned off, and the internet immediately disappears. And you know, I was sitting in such a vacuum at home, just like, you know, there's no one around and no help. What if the person suddenly gets sick? What if there is something emergency there? I could not get through to my husband, no one at all, just once, and the entire internet was turned off. Listen, we have been living in such conditions for a long time. We have these blackouts, and the situation is escalating. We see that the tech is not coping.
There was an attack. A missile attack was announced in 10 cities of our country. And also children could not be taken away by their parents in some schools, because the parents were also in bomb shelters. And well, in short, there was panic. Guys, do you understand that these are all just small bells in front of something, some huge bell?
Here we're not comparing anything with Ukraine, because we didn't attack anyone. Treacherously and cynically Russians attacked us. But we don't lose faith in victory and Ukraine, and we continue to live and fight and support Ukrainian armed forces. And Russians continue to whine, complaining about the consequences of their own silent consent. But slaves has neither a voice nor a choice. And I will talk about this for as long as Russian missiles keep flying at our cities. Thank you for watching and for your feedback. Take care of yourself, take care of Ukraine, and see you in the next episode.